Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Monday edition of Moohead Radio. I'm your host, a big and furry bovine. Sorry about Friday. I was suffering from really bad, made Kevin Love's back spasms look like nothing. And now I'm standing here on the YouTube channel, and I'm getting nothing but a blank circle going round and round. Will it go round in circles? This is not connecting. So more fun in technology land.
I think that was a soul coughing song at one point.
So can't do a program like this now, can we?
Well, you're coming through on YouTube, okay? So.
Oh, I'm not on mine though. I can't pull it up. So it's not letting me. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, I've got you and I've got Rock. So.
Oh, well, then you got more than I got. Oh, there, finally, it came up. Wow. All right. Well, who knows? Maybe my connection, maybe just the regionalization of all of this. Hi, everybody. But I am recovering from back spasms. So I'll try to be my light self that I am.
And there is the link so that if other people would like to join, they may. If not, well, we have a nice fiery pit for you.
Go fuck yourself. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get that now from the studio so we can put that up so people will know where they're going or not going, depending upon.
We're on a road to
their predilection.
Nowhere.
That is SAT words. But, you know, it's still, YouTube is not pulling up the chat. How weird is that? So I have nowhere to put it in. There's no chat, and now it's still not pulling up the video. So I can't watch the program. My apologies to everybody. I can't really monitor.
Bag.
Yeah, I can't put anything in the chat room that doesn't exist. It literally is not formulating on my screen. I've never seen this before, but you know.
It's not fornicating. What the hell's the matter with you, man?
So what I can do, I wonder if I make Rox the co-host here, will she have the power to do these things? Or if I make her the host momentarily, will she have the power to do that? Let's try the co-host first. All right, so if you were to go into the chat and copy that, would you be able to put it on the YouTube?
I doubt it because I'm not logged into YouTube.
Well then that will be the answer to that. So there you have it. Yeah, so I can't get the program on here. Really, this is a very strange thing indeed.
I just tried pasting the link into YouTube, the YouTube chat, just in case, but I'm sure you don't even see any indication that I was even there.
No, because it's blank. It is a big white blank screen, you know, where the chat's supposed to be. So obviously YouTube didn't want to take the ingestion of this from Zoom, and I will be shortly now with these errors going back to StreamYard because I can't be paying for a service that is unreliable. And this was screwing around with my camera and my mic last time, and I was having trouble again with my camera today, and I'm just about ready to say, Fooey to Zoomy. Enough. It's seen its day. Everyone uses it, and they've become the Skype of broadcasting. Congratulations. But they've secured your privacy so much that nobody can see your program. It's really exciting.
We have a really big show.
So follow the chat room. Is anyone in the chat room, Rox?
Yeah, D-Bag is there.
All right, so just say hi to everybody for me. We got a show to do. I want to start out the program by saying, you know, it's really amazing how confused people really are and why I don't want to talk about things political because there is no compass. I don't mean a moral compass. I mean, there is no sense or logic to what people are saying. And I'll give you one prime example and get off the whole thing. Defunding the police is not socialism, okay? It is privatization. That is a free market concept. It is also not a good idea, okay? Receiving a COVID-19 aid check from the government is socialism. Now, how are we able to have any kind of a meaningful conversation when the people who are accusing people of being socialists are trying to put into practice a free market concept that's a lousy idea for police, and people who are complaining about socialism are accepting checks from the government? I leave it at that.
Because the people who want to defund the police or actually want to abolish the police and have no police force.
Well, I mean, no, actually what they want to do is they want to privatize it. They want to get rid of the existing police. The reason they want it defund was not really the best choice of words, but what they really wanted to do was get rid of the current batch of police, which is ridiculous. You don't throw out the barrel of apples because one or two of them are bad. And that's, you know, what you have. Now, with this in mind, and this whole show is going to be about stupidity in one way or another, because we're seeing just an unbelievable amount of stupidity around, and around sports too. The headline that grabbed my attention was the 30-year-old dies after a Texas COVID party. He thought coronavirus was a hoax. And, you know, what makes this guy especially stupid, he thought he was young and he was invincible and wouldn't get affected. But one of the things that he said, some of the last things that he said before he was intubated and died was, "I think I made a mistake." You think, Bucky? Do you think? Yeah, I really do think. It's like rain on your wedding day.
Free ride, you've already paid.
I mean, you got to be fucking stupid. I mean, do you know that, you know, you watch brave people, and I could name them, but you know,
Having a spoon when all you need is a knife.
Yeah. All I can say is I know too many people who are fighting leukemia, who are fighting cancer, and are living their lives one day at a time. And you know something? They're still making the most out of their lives. And this idiot thought that he could just go to a COVID party and get it because it was a hoax. I mean, I do not feel sorry for him. And do I think he made a mistake? No, not really, because before he replicated, before he copulated, before he gave birth to more of his stupid genetics, he died. And I think that's a good thing. I really do. I think that it's really, I mean, that's really pathetic. That's about as dumb can get. All right. We'll talk more about stupidity later in the show, but there are some, there's an uplifting story, right? So the story is a 97-year-old guy, okay? He died in March. His name was Jimmy Miccioni. He was a hitman. No, he was from New Jersey. He was known as Uncle Jimmy, okay? Nobody noticed that stashed away in this guy's attic was a baseball card collection that was valued at more than $1 million. His nieces and nephews got glimpses of the collection over the years, but they had no idea just how expansive it was. I mean, there were baseball cards, memorabilia, pennants over the entire basement walls and everything. And get this, here's some of the treasures from this collection. It's unbelievable. Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Jimmy Fox. All right. These are cards that he had since like the 1930s. And he mailed the cards to players for them to autograph. Oh, yes. These aren't just cards. These are signed cards. The most valuable are 6 different 1933 Goody cards that were signed by Babe Ruth. And one of those cards just sold for $153,000 on Sunday. And that's not even the best one of the bunch. He believes that the Goody number 149 card will sell more when it goes up for sale. I mean, it's crazy. 97-year-old guy who didn't do anything but keep the cards out of love and it's discovered that they're worth over $1 million. And what a good time for it when people are out of work and all that. I thought that was an uplifting story and one of those surprising things that, well, you know, what can I tell you? It at least it made me feel better than the idiot who killed himself with COVID. Now, baseball is really fucking around with the game. If you didn't hear this one, you're going to be shaking your big cow heads. We have a 60-game schedule. Everybody knows that. That's strange enough as it is. But, you know, they want to make sure that they are lessening the impact of COVID-19 in the game. And so they're going to change the rules of extra inning games. Have you heard this, Brian?
No.
Get this. There's a new Major League Baseball rule that will put a runner on second base to start every half inning of an extra inning game in the shortened season. What they're saying is it'll save pitching staffs coming off an abbreviated 3-week spring training. It will lower players' potential exposure to the virus while they're standing in the field playing with their nuts. And when a 9-inning game goes into extreme overtime, say like 15, 16, or 17 or 18 innings, it will give them the rest they need to be able to jam 60 games in to the requisite time frame. So basically what you're going to get out of this, I mean, it's a bad decision to start the fucking season, to be very honest with you. But now, in order to try to justify this from a social ramification perspective and a health safety perspective, they're going to change the rules of the game. So somebody starts at second base, and you know, what's it going to take for the home team in the first time? If in the top of the 10th inning, they get the team out and they come in, you know, they're going to try to bunt the guy to third, and then they're going to try to bunch him home. You know, that's exactly the kind of ending that we need. That's what baseball needs. More exciting finishes, like guys taking stabs at balls that they have no idea what they're doing because they don't know how to bunt anymore. By the way, the Indians led the AL last season with 40 sacrifice bunts. If that means anything. And then you're going to have Franmil Reyes.
Which is amazing since they don't have Omar Vizquel anymore.
Well, no. I mean, stop and think about it. You know, Franmil Reyes.
He was great at that.
If Franmil Reyes is still alive, the way he's, you know, going about things, he'll step up to the plate, striking out 40% of his major league at bats. You'll have a man on second base. Well, he's not getting the third. I mean, it's frustrating. So will you pinch hit Franmil Reyes so a guy will make contact to the right side of the infield to move the guy to third and then hope one of the next two guys can hit a fly ball far enough to get him home? This is crazy shit. I mean,
now, have they decided what to do about the shifting?
No, I don't even know what they're going to do about that. I would think
because that would totally
safe.
Because that would totally not do anything to take advantage of that. So,
no, if you put 3 infielders on the right side of the infield, they're too close to one another, and it will break COVID restrictions. I mean, this whole thing is stupid. I mean, this has not been thought out, and they're making it up as they go along, and that's not good. I mean, the game is going to tarnish itself, and it's already tarnished enough because of the goddamn Houston Astros. I don't know. I'm just
speaking of the Houston Astros. Guess who's in the chat?
Who's in the chat?
Rose. Steven.
Oh, he's looking to get in.
Esteban. I don't know if he's looking to get in, but we can't accommodate him. So
yeah, I mean, right now I can't pull up the damn show. As crazy as it sounds, I'm allegedly on the air on YouTube, but damned if I can find, you know, and I'm sitting here trying to get this thing going. Yeah,
Mark, do you know how to make Rox a moderator?
Yeah, I did, but she can't put up a link because she'd be putting up the link in YouTube.
No, she's a co-host on Zoom, but can you make her a moderator on YouTube?
I don't have any screen except for the video screen. It's showing the
Oh.
program, but there's nothing. It's all blanked and grayed out. And when I go below mine, it says this video does not exist. Yet it's above it. I mean, it's like, God, this is like listening to a Bill
this is
Clinton,
great.
explanation. This
Well, it
does
depends
not
on what your
exist.
is. It depends on what your definition of is.
This video does not exist. Yeah, it's just crazy. So sorry, Stephen.
My penis did not ejaculate on that woman.
You cannot copy the video and do the responsible thing. I hope you're doing the responsible thing as far as your health in Texas, but I can't help you here because I've done everything that I can humanly do, and I apologize. As far as now, I can put this up on. Actually, I could put this up on Twitter. You know, I could do that. I'm going to do that. I'm just going to see if this will. All right.
Yeah. So if you guys have Twitter, go ahead and look up Moohead.
Yeah, and there you go. And it's up on Twitter. If you want to join the show, that's the link. It's on Twitter. And leave me the fuck alone. But honestly, you can't change the rules of a game. And then next year it'll be back to extra innings again and 16-inning boring games. I mean, look, it's a dumb idea. It's more stupidity. The Patriot League Division I, and a school like the Bucknell Bisons and Holy Cross and Holy Shit and Holy Mother of God, they've canceled all their fall sports due to the coronavirus. There's not going to be. So now we're seeing Division I, and it's getting bigger and bigger. Ohio State very recently announced that they're only going to play conference games. So that's basically, we got to keep the money rolling into the Big Ten, but we're not really going to, we're not going to give.
Yeah, there's no long distance travel games.
Right. So, I mean, it's all in conference only. And the Ohio States might be able to get away with that because of the same thing with the SEC, because of the wealth of those, but the smaller Division I schools.
Well, and the fact that they have more than 10 teams in their league, the Pac-12 is going to, the Pac-12 is probably going to be bumping up against it. And what's going to happen? Somebody asked what was going to happen with the Notre Dame schedule, because they don't belong to any conference.
Right. I mean,
they're the roving bandits.
Yeah, and it's who knows.
And they always play Stanford and USC.
Well, Stanford is cut by, I think they said like 14 of their sports. Not the major ones, but they've literally said there's no more of these sports, and they've eliminated certain athletic programs at their university. So that can't be a great start for that. How many Patriot League teams can you name, Brian?
Patriot League?
Yeah.
Doesn't that include Penn?
Oh, let's see how good you are. I'm gonna no Penn, no.
Oh, then they're Ivy League.
Yep.
Okay.
Here we go. American University. All right. Now, here are the two that are not going to be affected: Army, West Point, and Navy. Though they're in the Patriot League, and they're not part of this shutdown. Right.
Oh, see, I always consider them separate, like Air Force Academy.
Right, but no, they're actually in the Patriot League. Boston University, the Terriers, the Bucknell Bison, Colgate, Holy Cross, Lafayette, Lehigh, and Loyola, Maryland. Those are the schools, and no football, man. That's done. That's done.
And I think Loyola is in Philadelphia.
There are lots of Loyolas. This is Loyola, Maryland. That's the name.
Oh,
that's the one that's Maryland. In the Patriot League. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There was Loyola of Chicago too. I don't know if there still is, but there was. back to stupidity. And I'm not saying there's stupidity in the Patriot League, but I'm just saying that this is, you know, if you want your fix of, you know, college football, the pickings might get very slim here, folks, because things are turning in the wrong direction. And more big names, if you didn't hear the news, and I know Stephen probably wanted to get on the air because, you know, one of his guys.
Oh, D-Bag was actually at Loyola, Maryland.
Really? Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
I've never been there before.
Said Greenspring Avenue.
Yeah. But, you know, I'm shocked because people keep coming down with more and more and more of this. It's like now, who is the guy now? The former Oklahoma Thunder guy who's Russell Westbrook. Yeah, he's COVID positive. So, I mean, you know, you're going to want to watch your team play without him?
They might be better off.
Well, somebody else will get the ball. Somebody else will get the ball. But I mean, realistically, the league is built on these names, and if they're not there, it's a messed up situation. So I don't know. So I mean, that's the backdrop of all of this. The NBA, you know, baseball is now coming down. What July the 24th. It's 11 days away, folks, and people are still popping up positive, and they're jumbling around the rules to try to fit the time frame. So God knows. Now stupidity personified. You know, I promised you lots of stupidity besides me in this show, and Deshaun Jackson. I mean, look. I'm miffed. He tweeted a quote that was allegedly attributable to Adolf Hitler. At least he thought it was, but it wasn't, because he took somebody's word for it. But basically said that the Jew is the black man's enemy, and went on this ridiculous rant about how you know, the greedy Jews were going to screw black people out of their lives and livelihood.
Actually, that sounds like something Louis Farrakhan would have said.
Well, no, it is actually, and he did go on to also quote the Nation of Islam. So yeah, it's all in that thing. So you know, Holocaust survivor Edward Mossberg has invited him to visit Auschwitz, and he has accepted the invitation. The guy's a 94-year-old survivor of a Nazi concentration camp, according to the Jerusalem Post. And this guy, Deshaun Jackson, doesn't even deserve that. I mean, you know what the problem is? The problem is when people have a microphone in front of them, and because they're athletes, they shouldn't be speaking about certain things that they know nothing about whatsoever. And I don't know where in the hell that comes from, but Deshaun Jackson can go fuck himself, you know? But I wanted to say something else, because everybody knows that I'm a big Steeler hater. And there are few teams that arouse my ire more than the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I was watching CNN, and you know who they had on? Dante Stallworth. You remember him? Wide receiver for the Steelers. You remember him?
Vaguely.
Oh, Stallworth was a good receiver. You know, I wonder what he's doing now. You know, what is he doing now? He attended the University of Tennessee, where he studied psychology on a football scholarship. He now works as a journalist and a football commentator, and they had this guy on the air, and he was fantastic. I mean, it was like Richard Jefferson. Guy was, I mean, smooth as silk, unprepared, had it all figured out in his head. It was like, wow, there's an athlete who's doing something with his life. Good for him. And he is an ex-Steeler. And I hate him. Hated him as a football player. But, you know, afterwards, he's doing good for himself. So I thought that was a real positive thing, too. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of felt that way about Kevin Green.
Well, he was just unhinged.
Yeah, but he was funny as hell. When he was on the Rams, he was funny as hell.
It depends what you consider. If Bill Romanowski was funny, I suppose Kevin Green was funny. I don't know. I'm showing my age again. As far as Indian fans, you can rejoice. Terry Francona is saying that Francisco Lindor is going to be not leading off, but he's going to be moved to the number 3 spot because the Indians have no fucking offense. So what's going to look like could very well be a 1-2-3-4 switch hitting foursome. All right. Cesar Hernandez, the guy they got from Philadelphia, he's going to lead off. He's not the fastest guy in the world. He hit 279 with the Phillies. He's got a little pop in his bat. He hit 14 home runs. He does get walks, so he does look at some pitches instead of just going up hacking. He's going to be hitting 1, all right? And then from there, you're going to have Jose Ramirez hitting 2. You're going to have Lindor hitting 3, and you're going to have Carlos Santana hitting 4. After that, God only knows what you got. The Indians have a real problem on their hands because Delino DeShields Jr., I mean, we gave away Corey Kluber for nothing. DeShields now has COVID, okay? So Delino DeShields Jr., you know, it's like, bye, you know. We also got Clace, the guy who, you know, ingested illegal substances and is bye for the whole season. We gave away Corey Kluber for those 2 players. We got nothing.
Now watch, DeShields will get like plantar fasciitis and be out for 17 weeks or whatever.
And it doesn't matter because he is statistically was graded as the worst hitter in the major leagues last year. I don't know why the Indians are even bothering with him. They just gave Kluber away so they wouldn't have to pay him. No, they just didn't want to pay. They didn't want to pay Kluber. It's too uncertain. You know?
Hey, if we sign Delino DeShields Jr., maybe Senior will come in and sign some autographs.
Yeah, somebody could do something. I mean, the Indians have a major problem right now because even Jordan Luplow has been slowed by a sore back since Wednesday, and he may not be ready to go. All right. So we have all these outfielders, and God only knows who is going to play, but none of them are starting players. And I haven't heard anything about Bradley Zimmer whatsoever. I don't think he's ever going to come back. I think that was just a big swing and miss also, quite literally and figuratively. So, you know, DeShields, for his part, has to test negative twice, at least 24 hours apart, and receive approval from a league medical board in order to return. On and on it goes. In spring training in Arizona, Delino DeShields hit a big 227, which pretty well explains his career and why we're probably happy he's not playing. But what I'm saying is, if we don't get things
slightly better
going,
than 2 for 9 for those scoring at home.
That's right. And, you know, I guess the way I look at it is if the first 4 hitters don't do something, we got a problem because 5 through 9 suck. They suck.
On the other hand, the games will go by a lot faster.
Yeah, well, there won't be 3-hour games. They'll just be whiffing. They'll just be up there whiffing. It's just
1, 2, 3, you're out.
Mike Golick. You know, he was doing, you know, with Trey Wingo, he was doing a radio show for the longest time.
Radio and TV.
Yeah. And, you know, they shut down, they canceled his radio show with Wingo. Bye. Yeah. And I really.
Too white, apparently.
Well, you know, it's interesting that you say that. You know, because they're being replaced with a new morning show of Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and who is Zubin Mehenti? Who is that?
Kunta Kinte's cousin?
I don't know who Zubin Mehenti is, but obviously they're going in a definite urban direction with this. And Golick is going to allegedly come back and do college football analysis for a season that probably won't happen. That's exactly what he did during his first 10 years at ESPN. So his career gone in the wrong direction. You know, as far as what Golick had to say, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of this year and hopefully beyond for a couple more years. Then he said, we'll see about that. But at least for this year, that's the plan. Yeah, he's not going to be sticking around if somebody else offers him something. But, you know, these are the times in which we live in. I mean, somebody up in the organization just decided we got to go more urban on the morning show. And just, you know, and I don't know anything about Keyshawn Johnson as a broadcaster, Jay Williams as a broadcaster, and I don't even know who Zubin Mehenti is. And I can't read in the chat room who that person is. I can look it up, and so I will do that.
I have no idea who he is, and I don't think anybody else does either.
I just have his,
Hi to
his
Doggy
page
Bones.
up. All I know is he's a New Jersey native. He graduated from Rutgers University with a BA in journalism and political science.
Are you allowed to call him a native?
Well, I blame it on ESPN.
I'm just having fun.
I know.
You know, right now we're you know, Rox and I have been sitting here talking about stuff, and it's, you know, the name changes of the teams and all, and the Washington Redskins, and that's gone down the shitter.
Let's root for the Washington Capitulators.
Well,
and their new logo, it's Dan Snyder getting bent over and rammed hard by a large black man.
Well, 7 years ago, he said never would we change that. And I'm glad he's changing it. And they should make money off it if they come up with a good, slick logo and a good name. I mean, he's not going to lose anything. Where he loses is on the football field with the decisions that he makes, you know? Zubin Mehenti joined ESPN back in 2011 as a studio anchor. So at least he has, you know, he hosts nighttime editions of SportsCenter on both the weekends and weeknights, and sometimes anchors SportsCenter on the road segments. All right. So he's going to be kind of the glue. All right. While Keyshawn and Jay Williams will riff away. I don't know how that's going to work. We'll find out in practice how that works out. But I was kind of surprised to see that because I don't know what the ratings are like.
Like a tricycle with 2 broken wheels.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, whatever, you know, athletes, you know, and I don't like I said, Dante Stallworth was great. Richard Jefferson is great. And I don't like to characterize athletes as, you know, being incapable, but I have seen and heard so many of them that were just lacking. It's tough to do a radio show, folks. It's tough. And I mean, what we're doing here is on a video camera, but it doesn't matter. I mean,
Williams, program. I think did their basketball stuff.
Yeah, well, so Jay Williams,
he's been an on-air personality.
Yeah, I mean, Jay Williams. You know, I just don't know Keyshawn Johnson. I don't know what the story is and what he's been doing. I'm just not.
He's been on he does the Sunday NFL program.
Yeah, was he doing like the thing that was like the old HBO show, right? Inside the NFL kind of thing?
Sort of. It was more like what they do on CBS and Fox with the pregame.
Right. Okay. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if there's an energy to that, because you put 3 guys together. And it's hard. We did it in Top 40 Radio. It's really hard to find a good balance and chemistry between 3 people on the air. It is a challenge, and it's replacing a 2-person show. So, you know, I did want to share my screen just to show everybody something here. Not that. Let me go ahead and put up the famed shared screen. We'll optimize this for you. All right. The state of Florida, and I this highlighted the area, you know, and you can see my little pointer here. And this is all the Tampa area. Look at all the red we have here, you know. And this is a whole area over here, by the way, is Orlando. This is Tampa. This is my area where the
Oh yeah, I
Northwest.
heard something about the park opened up and then all of the spikes went bad and now they got to shut the park down again in Orlando,
Yeah, I don't
Disney
know.
World.
Oh, really? I mean, it's a disaster down here. I mean, we're getting 12 to 15,000 new cases a day, and this is way, way out of control. But I mean, the funny thing is when you look at it's not funny, the peculiar thing, when you look at the state as a whole, these areas you'd expect. I mean, there's a problem in Orlando, there's a problem in greater Tampa. You come down here, the Hispanic neighborhoods are just getting ravaged by this. But even the area that I'm in over here, the cases are going up way too fast. Then we have the internal areas of the state, and these are agricultural, Hispanic agriculture workers, all right? And you're seeing over here in Okeechobee, it's the same thing. DeSoto, the same thing. And when we pull out and we look at the state in a larger measure, well, I'm sorry, this is very sensitive. Immokalee down here, which it's got hardly, in Hendry County, it's got hardly any population, but it is hugely red because of agriculture down there. Cape Coral, which has a large older retirement population. Naples, another real retirement area. And we haven't even gotten into the areas down here, of course, of heavy concentration in Palm Beach and Coral Springs and Miami, in Dade, Broward County. And we go upwards, and you see in every single population center, from Pensacola to Tallahassee, all the way over to Jacksonville. These areas are all.
Gainesville's where the University of Florida is.
That's right. I mean, and Gainesville is, any population center, we're getting nailed with it. And if they think they're going to just bring their sports down here, if they think they can create a bubble down here, I'd like to see how in the hell these people are going to literally have to become shut-ins in order to get this done. Seriously. It's not going to be an easy thing to accomplish. So I just wanted to share that, not because the number of cases at this point don't matter, because it's already out in the public there. It's over. You can't contain this now. It's out of containment. You're going to get it, you're going to survive, or you're not going to survive. And I hope that people who are not in the high risk segment, I hope you don't get it. But that's unfortunately where we're at with this. There's no reason to scare people about it. It's just a fact. Things out of control. You can't put the genie back in the bottle again. So it's too bad. But yeah, with sports coming in here, I don't think so. Wanted to point out the death of somebody who it's really kind of unfortunate. John Travolta's wife, Kelly Preston.
Yeah, she was a co-star in Jerry Maguire. For people who don't know, she was the Jerry Maguire chick.
Yeah, I mean, Kelly Preston really. It's a funny story that is one of those things that got talked about on the entertainment pages. But that she and Travolta met on the set of a movie. And it was one of the worst movies ever made. It was called The Experts. And it was a 1984 film. And what made it ultra tragic, if you will, to the artistry world, was that John Travolta had turned down An Officer and a Gentleman. Flat out turned down the lead role and handed it to Richard Gere. And that movie would have followed up for him. It would have followed up Urban Cowboy and would have been another smash hit for John Travolta. And he turned it down. And by making that blunder, there was no movies as they moved into the mid 80s. And he took this horrible assignment on a movie called The Experts, which was probably.
He had Blowout. He took Blowout instead of Officer and a Gentleman.
Yeah, Nancy Allen. Yeah, I remember that movie, and it was nothing. But that's where he met Kelly Preston. They were married, I want to say, for 27 or 29 years. I mean, it was a lengthy tryst. And
Tony, you made it.
Hey.
Oh.
Hey.
What's
He's
up,
got the
Tony?
chin wrap.
Yeah, I got my beard warmer working right now.
So, where are you?
I'm at work.
Oh, okay.
I've got 8 shifts left at Delta, and they now have a company mask policy, so I'm I'm wearing my mask to get my severance package.
Are you ever covering your mouth with it, Tony?
Absolutely not. I refuse.
Are you being serious?
Yes. I can't because I have asthma and claustrophobia. So the mask makes it hard for me to breathe.
If you have asthma,
Yeah.
do you know what happens if you get COVID? You wouldn't be
If I
talking
die.
to me. You won't be talking.
If I
to me.
die, I die.
Rox, please say something, please.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave that one to you.
I don't want to see anything bad happen to anybody, man. But I'll tell you
Uh,
honestly, Tony. I mean, yeah, if you do in fact have asthma and you're as overweight as you are a massive risk for this. I mean, I'm scared just because I am at my weight, and I keep losing. I'm trying to do what I can. You know, I'm scared. I'm scared because it's hitting people who are obese. That's part of the profile. So
I
just
also
be
have
careful.
I also have minimal contact with the outside world. So
Well, so do I. I mean,
So when you're passing your coworkers, are you not wearing your masks like around other people?
I am not. No.
Okay.
I'm going to leave it alone. I promised I would leave it alone, and so it will be. I did want to share an image, though. The National Football League and trying to make an adaptation to their game. A first look at the Oakley Mouth Shield, which is being shipped out to NFL teams this week in hopes of protecting players from COVID-19. And there it is. Yes, there are holes in it. I just want to bitch slap somebody. Well, you got to breathe, Well, that's the fucking problem. If you're breathing on people and you're positive, I don't want to explain this to people anymore. Just fucking lip service. The Oakley Mouth Shield coming soon. I don't know, to a mall near you, because you ain't going to see it on the football field. Players are already up in arms. They said, you're going to block my ability to breathe on the football field in a game that requires as much energy as football, and I still have to be on top of people the entire game. I mean, let's look at this for what it is. And I'll tie it into Tony. I think it's a fair thing to say, and it's not something I wish on anybody. But by doing what you're doing, you're readily accepting that if you get it, you'll die. And any football player who's deciding to play football is obviously willing to take the risk.
Well, and if you remember, Mark, I had it in April.
You say you had it in April, and what do we know about? We don't really know about antibodies either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you have a ton of antibodies built up, and I hope they last a lifetime. That would be a wonderful thing. But in the NFL, any players who are saying, well, we're going to play football, I guess that's what it means. It means they basically are saying my livelihood is more important than my safety. And if that's a decision you make. But if you think that little fucking face mask, little mouth mask is going to protect you from this, you got another thing coming. Restaurant around the corner from me, man. The line cook died. He fucking died of COVID. And now they're trying to contact people who are in the restaurant. You can't, because it's not a reservation restaurant. It's a walk-in restaurant. There's no way they can contact trace. It's over. There are going to be a bunch more people who get this because the guy on the line who was cooking and handling their food was sick. And so it goes. And we all just have to accept it, because I guess that's just the way it is. I shake my big cow head.
Em says Tony has a therapy ferret.
Now,
What was the one? What's the one from South Park? What was that ferret's name? Lemmy Winks or whatever the hell is this?
Yeah.
Here's the New York Mets are up for sale. If you're wondering, they're taking auction bids drive the
Hate the
price up for the
Mets,
lousy
Glorious
New York
Mets.
Metropolitans. You know, nobody cares about the Mets in New York. Nobody has since Casey Stengel, and nobody will. They're a waste of time. You know, I'm hoping that they get a new owner and we can get Mickey Callaway back as our pitching coach and get rid of that idiot Willis. That's what I'm hoping. The COO of the Mets, Jeff Wilpon, has a choice on his hands. There are two bidders at this point. The bidder that's interested is a consortium, if you will, of athletes, including Brian Urlacher, Travis Kelce, DeMarco Murray, right, along with Jennifer Lopez and A-Rod. They're all going to put their funds together to buy the New York Mets. And who are they competing against? Hedge fund billionaire Steve Cohen. Fuck the hedge fund guy. Fuck the hedge fund guy. Right in the butt. I mean, you know, Wilpon would prefer to sell to the Rodriguez Lopez group. Do it. Do it. Pull
Hey,
the trigger.
By the way, there's a group that includes Travis Kelce and Joe Thomas, also in the running for the Mets.
Well, Travis Kelce's part of the group that I'm talking about. So I wonder if Joe Thomas is a minority guy in this whole thing. But it's interesting because you have 5 people trying to compete with some hedge fund guy. Now, you know, we don't need a hedge fund guy owning the New York Mets. We don't need it. Why don't we get some people who are at least Jenny on the block, you know? Somebody who has an interest in the city, for Christ's sake. Fucking billionaire Steve Cohen. You know, he can buy anything he wants. And he gets his money through dishonest means. Fuck him. I'm so tired. I'm so tired of the hedge fund people. I could scream. They're making hay. Everything's going to hell and they're making hay. This guy's going to buy the fucking Mets for $2 billion. What in the hell? The group is in standby mode, awaiting word from MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred regarding the next step in the process. By the way, A-Rod and fiance Lopez have put $300 million of their own money toward the bid. Oh, here we go. Other investors include Joe Thomas, right? Bradley Beal from the Washington Wizards and Denver Nuggets, Mason Plumlee. So you have in Plumlee, a clumsy white guy. You've got Bradley Beal, a skilled African-American. You've got Joe Thomas, a skilled Caucasian. You've got Lopez and Rodriguez, who are Hispanic. This is the stuff of which the winning bid is made. Not Steve Cohen. Hey, I'll tell you something. I could use a little New York Mets baseball team. Diversity, folks, with ties to the city. Diversity. Now, whether they can run a baseball team, hey, that hasn't been the case with the current Mets. So, not the case with the current Washington Redskins or the Cleveland Browns. The other thing that I found funny, and maybe I'm not sure that anyone else finds it funny, is this whole notion of the Redskins giving up their name. And the Atlanta Braves saying, no, we're not giving up our name, but we are examining the tomahawk chop cheer.
Which they stole from Florida State.
Florida State. Is this tone deaf? What am I missing here? It's like...
No, at some point you got to say, fuck you, shut up and sit down because you're dumb. This is ridiculous.
I understand.
They were the Milwaukee fucking Braves before they became the Atlanta fucking Braves.
Do you remember what the Atlanta Braves did in the 1970s and 1980s when they hit a home run?
The only home run that I remember from the 1970s was Hank Aaron's.
Hank Aaron's.
When everybody ran onto the field.
a figure would jump out of a little teepee, and his name was Chief Nakahoma. I'm not making this up. And he'd do a little war dance whenever they hit a home run. It was so
but
condescending.
Every American Indian that I know doesn't give a rat's fucking ass about any of this.
I'll tell you one thing. They stopped doing Chief Nakahoma. They got rid of Chief Nakahoma. They got rid of him because it was offensive. It was blatantly offensive. It was okay, it's a home run. What the fuck kind of shit is this? Well, so now, yeah, we're having trouble, really. We're going to analyze that. Me chop 'em, scalp of white man. I mean, what kind of nonsense is this? Are we living in a TV Western? Oh, my God. But they're not going to change the Braves name, which is Indian themed.
Whoop-de hell. Do you know how many things?
Hell,
I'm
a Native American.
Do you know how many high schools
Georgia
are named after fucking Indians?
I don't know, man. I mean, it's just, to me.
Yeah, my high school team was the Braves.
Yeah, and you know.
Probably change that.
Yeah, I mean, but when your logo is Native American oriented, you call yourself the Braves, and you have Chief Nakahoma, and you're doing a tomahawk cheer, I'd say, yeah, man, kind of stepped over the edge, you know. And if the Redskins are going to change that, you know, and you decide to stay with it, and when people stop buying your fucking merchandise, don't cry, don't whine. You know, this is business. You know, I would buy radio stations.
No, this is idiocy.
No, wait, just wait a minute. Just
Not if you're the one offended.
listen.
No,
cry me a fucking river.
Hey, wait.
That's easy for you to say. They're using Native American religious icons in fucking sporting events. So hell yeah, some Native Americans care about that. And they've been bitching about it for decades now. So it's about fucking time.
They're burning fucking
It's about fucking time.
Are you crying about that?
Wait.
Are you fucking crying about burning churches?
Time out.
Fucking A.
Time out.
Oh,
I used to buy radio stations. All right. I bought Rock 105 in Flint, Michigan, which was an AOR album-oriented rock station, and flipped the format to contemporary hit radio and switched the call letters to CK105, right? And we remarketed the whole thing from the ground up successfully. It could be done if you have imagination and if you have focus. I mean, look, you have a product that is a unique product in Washington, D.C. or in Atlanta. If you're the only baseball team in Atlanta and you're the only football team in the nation's capital, you know, people are going to watch football. You got to be Daniel Snyder to fuck this up in the first place. I mean, you got to be, you know, the Cleveland Browns, you know, since, you know, with Lerner and all of it, you know, and Haslam. You got to be fucking stupid to fuck the thing up. I mean, what's so hard about coming up with a new name, a new image, and, you know, polishing a turd? Because let's be honest, the Redskins haven't been a factor in the NFL since the fucking Hogs played. That's all the way back from Joe Theismann and shit. They haven't even been a factor in the, you know, since Daniel Snyder bought the team, they haven't been a factor. They haven't even been able to get a decent quarterback to play on that team since he bought the franchise. I mean, but here's an opportunity to start over and to say, okay, you know, and we're going to remarket this thing and reimagine this thing. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's why they're doing it, because their $200 million is being threatened from FedEx. That's the reason they're doing it. It's not because they grew a heart or anything. So, you know, quit bitching. You got $200 million of FedEx's money on naming rights of the stadium. Boo fucking who? I mean, Daniel Snyder is not being put upon one iota, any more than Steve Cohen, the hedge fund guy. Give me a fucking break. This is not hard to do. It's marketing 101. I mean,
so you're going to get rid of the UNC Tar Heels too? You going to tell Michael Jordan he can't be a fucking Tar Heel anymore? Where does it end? When does it end?
It doesn't. The fact of the matter is, you have to hope that
once you bend the knee, once you give in to this asininity, you start a tidal wave that you will never fucking end.
And once you give in to the other side, you see, there is no in between. You see, you don't get it. You only see it from one distant perspective, like with one of your eyes closed. That's not the way life is. I mean, we have two eyes for a reason. We have peripheral vision for a reason. I mean, so if you're down on kneeling for the national anthem and you're never going to change your position on that, you cave to that. And then, if I cave and wear a mask, and there's Donald Trump wearing a mask, why? Because he's losing the election. His people are telling him, you're really down double digits to a senile old fucker. That's why he wore the mask. He has no principles. He's playing you, one against another. All of these people, they're just playing. I don't think that they're, I was talking to Rox. I mean, I'm not in favor of knocking down George Washington statues. Come on. I mean, you find me any of the founding fathers who believed that slaves should be freed. Not one of them.
Bullshit. Bullshit. When you're talking about founding fathers, yes, the northern people didn't want fucking slavery, but they had to have a unanimous vote on the Declaration of Independence. They were never going to get it from North Carolina and South Carolina and fucking Georgia.
I'm not going to point at George Washington and say George Washington was worse than. I mean, he owned this many slaves and this guy owned this many slaves. The fact of the matter is, today, I mean, all they were guys who were massive landowners. That's who they were. And they couldn't work the land themselves. And they were just like Steve Cohen, the hedge fund guy. They wanted to just hoard all of the money, and they didn't want to pay anybody to till the soil. So they got themselves slaves and whipped them. Now, if it sounds familiar to you, Brian, it should, because you live in Arizona and I live in Florida. And we got Hispanic people doing our lawns for us because we don't want to do it. We're too lazy to do it. We earned our money in business, and we don't do that. So we hire the people, or the homeowners association will hire the people who come in with the lowest bid, and they're barely even surviving in today's poverty-stricken economy. And it's no different. The landowners and the people with money hire people. The only difference is, Rox pointed out, nobody hired the slaves. The slaves were just, slaves. But I would make the argument that the same mentality exists in people's minds today. I don't want to sit here and talk
as I had to educate a black woman on Twitter. Oh, by the way, slaves went to Mexico, slaves went to Colombia, slaves went to Brazil, went to Argentina.
There's still slaves in South America.
They still went. There were black slaves that went fucking everywhere, not just America. So can we stop with the fucking fallacy of that?
Well, the fallacy is that people think the way they think. And in a given set of circumstances and a time and a place, if you're going to point out George Washington, then why don't you point out Donald Trump for taking advantage of Hispanic people and making them no health coverage whatsoever in Mar-a-Lago and putting these people living in barracks, which is what he does. Okay. Why don't we point the finger and say that Donald Trump is as much a land baron, if you will?
Yeah, let's pick on the guy that's promoted more fucking minorities than anybody else.
I mean, he's got slaves basically who were doing Mar-a-Lago is no different than, look, I saw it.
Break.
You should join me and go up to Vermont and go to Top Notch and see the goddamn filth and squalor that these people are forced to live in. And this is all part of the hospitality industry, because a law was introduced that allowed them to ship these foreign people in from foreign countries. Now, on the one hand, we can't have these people coming into our country. We need to build a wall. But on the other hand, we got legislation passed to make sure that they came in to work in the hospitality industry and live like serfs, because that's what we are. We're land barons and serfs still. We still have the same mentality.
That's the establishment politicians right there. Yeah, right. The Democrats on one side want to secure their voting bloc so that they can maintain their political power and grow their political power. And on the other hand, you got the fucking Republicans like McConnell and Graham who want to come in and be the cheap labor to keep fucking profits high for corporations.
And Donald Trump is just another one. You know, I'll never wear a mask. No, I'll never wear a mask. What did he do?
He wore a mask to goddamn Bethesda.
Oh, come on. Like Bethesda's more important. It's a holy grail. The lives in Bethesda are more important than the lives in Tulsa. Come on. Get real. He's losing. You know he's losing. He knows he's losing, and his pollsters know he's losing. It's not working politically. So
we heard this all in fucking 2016. Luckily, voting doesn't happen in July. It happens in November. So we'll see what happens then.
Go to sleep. That's right. And that's what I love about you folks. You're just convinced it's still 2016. But you know something? The Russians can't salvage this. They can't. There's no salvaging this.
Yeah, just ask Hillary Clinton how that fucking went.
It's a losing cause. Hillary Clinton lost her own campaign because she didn't have the energy and she was arrogant.
She tried to sell a bullshit fucking narrative with John McCain's help. Oh, what a fucking surprise.
To me, she was purely arrogant and she didn't feel she had to work at it. And she stopped campaigning and she thought that she was a shoo-in. And that's why she would never be the president. And that's why I'm grateful that she didn't become the president, because she's a fame seeker. She's a person who just is
She's also a crime boss.
Well, you know, you say that, and I could say that Donald Trump is a treasonist. But, you know, there's no real solid evidence on this.
How has he ever committed fucking treason?
All I'm saying is that how did he commit treason?
How did he commit treason? Please tell me. I've been waiting for 5 fucking years for somebody to come up with real evidence that Donald Trump committed treason. Haven't seen it yet. Saw some bullshit thing this year in January. Remember when he announced the travel ban? No, you don't, because goddamn Adam Schiff was crying about the fucking asshole impeachment that went nowhere.
Well, you're not going to impeach him. You got to vote him out of office. And if you can't vote him out of office, you can't do it. I mean, all I'm telling you is
I had to put up with 8 years of fuckhole Obama, very sorry Toro, ramming the goddamn country straight into the rocks.
Yep. And we may have to get 4 more years of Trump. But the bottom line is that the reason he wore the mask, and you're dodging the question, why did he wear the mask? And you're using the Bethesda story, and that's bullshit.
Because he went to the goddamn army military hospital.
You know it's bullshit. Military lives are not more important.
Show me where else he's worn a mask.
So one American citizen's lives and safety is more important than another's? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying he was being...
Come on.
How am I saying?
It's political.
How do I want to say it? He would rather fucking not put the military at risk than just some rando asshole.
Oh, but it's okay to take the random asshole who voted for him into office and risk their health and life. That's what you're saying. I mean, any way you look at it, it's bullshit.
Different venue.
It
was a completely different venue.
Slice it thin, it's baloney. I mean, he's a politician. He had to wear the mask. If he didn't wear the mask, he wouldn't have the photo opportunity that would at least try to make that not an issue anymore. Make it go away. He's losing. He's losing in states. It should never be anywhere near as close as it is in some of these states. He's running against a near vegetable. I mean, come on. And all of his people are telling him, you quit being such a stubborn ass, just put the fucking mask on. It's not going to be an issue anymore. That's why he did it.
I've seen him.
He'll do anything to get reelected. He will do anything. He's no different than Hillary Clinton. He will do anything. Sell out to anyone. He is a system politician, believe me. And he's cruel because he fires people who disagree with him, who don't even openly disagree with him, but just kind of scratch their heads and try to soften his stance. He fires them. That's what he is. But he caved in. He caved in on the mask. And I want to say he looked really weak. He did. He looked weak to me. Because it told me that the re-election process was more important to him than standing behind whatever his fucking principles are, which I disagree with. He didn't stand up for his principles. The re-election thing became more important to him. And that's what a politician does. Any way the wind blows. Yeah. 6 minutes past.
You know what, Doggy Bones? Go suck a dick. Go suck a dick.
Okay. I'm done with the show anyway. I want to apologize that I couldn't read anything in the chat room. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to shift back to
you think Trump is a goddamn tyrant, you miserable little piece of shit? What about the $350 billion that went back to fucking Iran on the C-130s? What about that? Huh?
Thanks for tuning
in
to
the
this
balls
edition
of the
Moohead
fucking
Radio.
Arab world.
Thanks everybody for tuning into this edition of Moohead Radio. We'll be back again come Friday if my back spasms don't come back, and I hope they don't. And Brian, I just wanted to say I love you, you know that, and I love everybody who's associated with the program, and we have fun disagreeing, or maybe not always fun, but we have a different point of view, and we're not afraid to get together and talk about the differences. We'll see what happens in the world of sports as it keeps unfolding page by page. Until next time, hasta la vista, Pasture Heads.